On the third day of our marriage, my husband took his secretary to the island for their honeymoon. Upon receiving the call from my husband preparing to board the plane, I calmly replied with mm. On the other end of the phone, the secretary's apologetic voice came through, sweet and nasal. "Mrs. Molly, it's all my fault for booking the wrong flight. Please don't blame Mr. Maverick, it's entirely my mistake." Maverick whispered to her for a long time, then said to me with a hint of impatience, "Molly, don't be unreasonable, the tickets for tomorrow are the same." The next day, what arrived on the island was only a divorce agreement. Is it really just because of this small matter? Well, just because of this little thing. Half a month later, I saw Maverick again. As soon as I entered the house, he instinctively frowned and coldly began to question me. It felt as if I were not his newlywed wife, but rather a subject of negotiation, or even one of his subordinates. "Molly, you haven't worked for 3 years. Without me, how will you survive?" Maverick approached, lowering his gaze to look at me, suppressing the impatience in his eyes. "Molly, if you can't get over the honeymoon issue, I apologize to you. You know, Mr. Lee from Xingfeng was also on the island vacationing at that time. I haven't returned these days just to secure the partnership, it wasn't intentional to treat you that way. Moreover, Mavis booked a flight for you the next day, and you're still throwing a tantrum and refusing to go, deliberately using divorce to torment me." He patiently explained, always believing it was the issue with that flight. He even thought I was just being emotional. The day I found out he had booked the wrong flight. He promised me he would change it, but I still saw the chat history on his phone with his secretary, Mavis. "Mr. Maverick, if I change my flight, I won't be able to fly with you, and I've really never been on a plane for that long by myself, I'm scared." "It's okay, I'll stay with you." Maverick's answer was as reassuring and certain as ever. Unfortunately, it was not directed at me. I don't want to explain any further. I bent down, pulled open the drawer, took out a new divorce agreement, signed it, and handed it to him. "I have already hired a lawyer, the specific division of property can be handled with the lawyer." Maverick looked down at me and said, "Molly, have you thought this through? We've been married for less than a month, and you want to leave? If that's the case, why did we even get married in the first place? Why get married?" This should be asked of Maverick. 6 months ago, I had already mentioned breaking up because of Mavis, but Maverick held me and cried, begging me not to leave him. "Mavis and I really have nothing between us, it's truly just a superior-subordinate relationship." It was pouring rain, and I could only pity her as I sent her home. "I swear, there will be no next time. Molly, don't leave me. I love you." To prove a point, Mavis was transferred to a subsidiary of the group, and a male secretary was assigned to her. This incident even became a topic of conversation throughout the company for a time. In just 5 short months, Maverick was busy preparing for the proposal, engagement, and wedding. "Once, you created for me a romantic and sweetly dreamy post-marriage life. This is how we had our wedding half a month ago. I admit that the past 8 years are not so easily forgotten, and I truly find it hard to let go." And Maverick should also be grateful that people have the ability to reminisce about the past. But this golden ticket for absolution, he can only use it once. Looking at the home I once decorated with my own hands, I found myself at a loss. Any item could unlock the floodgates of my memories. After sitting quietly for a while, I got up, packed a few simple clothes, and dragged my suitcase towards the door. Maverick stood at the door, watching coldly. "Do you really have to act like this? The moment I return, you have to leave, you just have to make a scene, Molly?" Hearing this, I only felt exhausted. He still thought of me as that little girl from before. "No matter how you think, just sign the divorce agreement." After saying that, I turned and left, leaving behind the house I had painstakingly arranged and the 8 years of a relationship I had worked so hard to maintain. I wanted none of it. He thought I didn't know, but on the second day of our marriage, Maverick couldn't wait to bring Mavis back to his side. He thought I couldn't see it. The dense chat history from the past year had long exceeded the boundaries that should exist between a superior and a subordinate. He thought I didn't know that the day they went to Flying Sea Island was Mavis's birthday, and that they spent the night in a suite. Oh, right, there's that. Mavis has already sent me the photo of Maverick covered in kiss marks from that night. The honeymoon trip that was supposed to belong to me is being experienced by someone else, who is sharing it in real time on social media. She's taking advantage of such a great opportunity for provocation, quite well. However, he's just a man who has changed his heart, so let it go. But clearly, Mavis did not want to let me go. Molly, what a coincidence. I didn't expect to run into you at the hospital. Did you have a fight with Mr. Maverick recently and it made you sick? Saying this, she deliberately raised the ultrasound report in her hand. Mr. Maverick is really something, just got pregnant and already wants me to get checked, afraid that the baby will be wronged. Seeing that I remained silent, Mavis, in her self-satisfaction, pressed on with her advantage. By the way, Molly, I also have to thank you for arranging the house so clearly. It really lifts my spirits just living here. I raised my eyes. Have you finished? Perhaps these recent provocations, my lack of response has given her the illusion of having the upper hand. It's just a pity that I'm not a soft persimmon. I don't avoid her simply because I look down on her, but because I fear losing value. But since she has danced right in front of me, there's really no need to hold back any longer. Slap. A resounding slap landed. She was stunned for a long time. You hit me? On what grounds? I looked down at her with a sidelong glance, and for that one reason, as long as the assets remain unpartitioned, I am still Mrs. Molly. Eager to give herself away before even taking her place, is that something to be proud of? Be careful, if I hold back my disgust and don't get a divorce, you'll never get anywhere in this life. However you moved in, that's how you'll have to move out. I didn't expect to be so tough. Mavis was left speechless by my retort, her face turning bright red. Oh right, the designer handbag you're carrying, the designer leather shoes you're wearing, and even the money for the checkup, they must all be given by Maverick, right? These are all marital assets. Thanks to the photos you sent me, there's enough evidence to prove that Maverick is cheating in the marriage. If you want to climb into a man's bed, that's your business, but I advise you not to disgust me. Otherwise, if one day I decide to seriously settle this score, the consequences will be more than you can bear. Also, what you stole is my troubles, not my man. Mavis was stunned, her face twisted in a mix of jealousy and fear, no longer the proud figure she had been before. After confronting Mavis, I felt quite good. But when I turned around, I saw Maverick standing at the door with slightly red eyes. After returning from the hospital, Maverick kept trying to contact me, but I didn't give him the chance to explain. The long-term phone harassment made me unable to resist putting him on my blacklist. A person felt bored staying alone. I casually bought a plane ticket and went to an unknown small city. Since I started dating Maverick 8 years ago, I have lost the right to think of myself. Because of the various reasons Maverick mentioned, he cannot marry me. Yet he has already made me live the life of a housewife. A skilled cook, providing thoughtful emotional support, a wife who can only share in the hardships of life. In the Maverick circle, they all say he has a virtuous wife. However, they don't really respect me. I once heard Maverick's friend lamenting for him. What a pity, you started living a monotonous life at such a young age. My wife is virtuous, but she's so boring. Aside from asking you what you want to eat and what to wear every day, there's no spark at all. Don't you find that annoying? How about I introduce you to someone interesting? I recently interviewed a new secretary. She's super hot and way more attractive than Molly, 100 times better. What do you think? Want me to set you up? I didn't hear clearly what Maverick answered. But after that, a secretary with the surname Yu came to his side. After finding a good place to live, I began to calm down and reflect on the various experiences of these past few years. Many details that I had overlooked began to emerge one by one in my mind. This relationship was only sincere in the past few years. Perhaps I didn't even realize that it had already soured long ago. From the moment I lost myself, with only Maverick in my eyes, I had already fallen into a disadvantage, willingly plunging into the abyss. This distorted way of getting along cannot last. As I thought about this, I fell into a deep sleep. But this sleep was anything but restful. I had many bizarre and fantastical dreams. At 10, there were playful laughs and scuffles with friends. At 12, there was the anger when my dad brought home a stepmother. I understood that I no longer had a home. At 19, there was the astonishment of first meeting Maverick. At 20, with Maverick starting a business, there was the exhaustion of working 3 jobs in a day. There is the happiness of being 26 years old at Maverick's wedding. And also, a harsh ringing sound jolted me awake from my dreams. Irritated, I fumbled for my phone on the bedside. A strange short horn. I pressed the answer button, and a polite inquiry came from the other side. May I ask if this is Mrs. Molly? I am a nurse at the Second People's Hospital. Here's the thing, last time you accompanied your husband for a checkup, it was found that there was a shadow on his stomach. To be safe, I suggest that your husband come to the hospital for a detailed set of examinations. I tightened my fingers around the phone, feeling a bit anxious, and as I came to my senses, an indescribable self-mockery and fatigue washed over me. Not long ago, he said his stomach often felt uncomfortable. I acted cute and coaxed him, finally getting Maverick to reluctantly spare half a day for a checkup. I looked out at the sunlight evenly spread outside and said softly, I'm sorry, we are already divorced. Please direct this question to Maverick himself. Ah. The nurse felt a bit awkward. Could you please provide Mr. Maverick's contact information? At that time, we only had your mobile number. I recited Maverick's phone number with familiarity. I apologized to the nurse once more and raised my hand to hang up the phone. I don't know what Maverick is thinking. The newcomer is beside me, yet still comes to bother me. After putting him on the blacklist, she called from another number, hesitating and indecisive. This was the most Maverick could do in matters of the heart. The call connected, and there was silence on the other end for a few seconds. Just as I was losing my patience and about to hang up, Maverick's voice came through. Molly, he called my name softly. That day at the hospital, it wasn't what you think, I can explain. Mr. Maverick, perhaps we no longer need to discuss this topic between us. Explanations, you can save for your next wife. I hope to hear from you next time, preferably with good news about your desire for a swift divorce. Apart from that, we have nothing more to say to each other. Hanging up the phone, I felt an indescribable anger inside. After an 8-year-long relationship, I finally saw through the greed hidden beneath his deep affection. I want it all. I can't bear to part with Mavis's soft fragrance in my arms, yet I don't want to give up the 8 years I've spent with him. No, to him, I might just be a perfectly understanding nanny. In the week of continuous phone calls, he acted as if nothing had happened. It seemed she had just woken up, her voice hoarse as she asked me, Molly, where did I put the jewelry I was going to send to the client last month? It seemed that the drinking party had just ended, and with a hoarse voice, he instructed me, Molly, my stomach doesn't feel well, where are the stomach medicines at home? Molly, I'm not used to the breakfast at home, I want to drink the porridge you make. I am filled with rage. I try to calm myself, but my trembling hands have betrayed my emotions. Suppressing my anger, I say each word slowly, Maverick, I have already filed for divorce. These matters of yours have nothing to do with me, I am not your maid. If you can't find something, or if your stomach hurts, that's your problem. If you need something, go to Mavis, don't come to disgust me. My lawyer has contacted you 3 times, and you have rejected each time. This is the final reminder, otherwise, I don't mind going to court. I don't know what you really want to do, whether you're used to having a free babysitter or if you want to enjoy the blessings of a harmonious relationship. But Maverick, don't make me reevaluate my perception of you again, let's part on good terms. After hanging up the last call, I opened the SIM card slot, took out the SIM card, broke it in half, and threw it into the trash can. The remaining feelings were completely drained by Maverick's incessant phone calls. It's not that he can't bear to part with me, it's just a man's selfish harassment. He has become accustomed to being taken care of. I got a new card and bought a plane ticket. I flew to the island I had always wanted to visit. This is what Maverick and I agreed upon for our 5th anniversary. At the time, when he brought it up, his eyes were filled with tenderness. He immediately started looking for strategies. However, the company was just in its early stages, and I didn't want to hinder his career. Then it's settled, our honeymoon trip will be to this island. Humph, you better not lie to me, or I'll go by myself and never talk to you again. Maverick's eyes were filled with a smile as he wrapped his arm around my shoulder. Molly, don't worry, I will definitely keep my word. At that time, I felt that we would definitely go. Having endured those toughest years, the future was all smooth sailing. I never expected that now, it would really be just me going alone. The words spoken in love only count when in love. But it doesn't matter anymore. The day we set off for the island. The sky was clear and the air fresh. The flight was smooth all the way, and I finally enjoyed a good sleep after a long time, escaping that terrible nightmare for the first time in a month. The waves danced, shimmering in the light. I didn't check into a 5-star hotel, instead, I chose a seaside guesthouse. A person walks along the coastline. Sitting in the sunset, waiting for the night to envelop, watching the bright moonlight that hasn't been seen in a long time. The golden sunrise is warm, and the clouds at the horizon between the sea and sky have turned me pink. There are no tall buildings, no indulgence in pleasures, fame, or power here. There are not many fishermen on the island, they may seem taciturn, but each one is simple and kind, often wearing a friendly smile on their faces. The busy fisherman, and the wife waiting for her husband to return at the place of smoke and fire. There is no denying that over the years, my life has become increasingly elevated, allowing me to witness many aspects of high society. What comes with money is a cold home, which ultimately changes its appearance. But now, the shouts of the fishermen, the roaring of the engines, the smell of grilled fish, and the rolling waves have shown me a more vivid and expansive world. I know that with Maverick's methods, they will still find out where I am. But it no longer matters. During this time, I became very good friends with the family of the guesthouse owner. At their invitation, I tried going out to sea to fish on a fishing boat for the first time. I suffer severely from seasickness, feeling dizzy and nauseous, as if my stomach is churning violently. I almost feel like I would throw up my very insides before it would be over. Once the boat is underway, it cannot turn around. Finally, we arrived at the area where the traps were set. Until I personally lifted the heavy trap from the cold sea water, listening to the innkeeper and his daughter celebrating today's bountiful catch, watching the shimmering little fish and the colorful shrimp and crabs. In this fervent and chaotic joy, I finally couldn't help but shed tears, quickly wiping away the tears on my face. Tears still couldn't help but fall in streams. I hurriedly turned my head, not wanting them to see the father and daughter. For a long time, the suppressed emotions were released. I deeply felt that from this moment on, my rusted heart began to beat again. Even if one is betrayed and dreams are shattered, there are still other joys worth celebrating, aren't there? After returning, I became myself again. For example, the long-neglected teaching qualifications and the abandoned sculpture. For example, raising a kitten or a puppy. Before being with Maverick, I was also a bright and cheerful girl. Full of curiosity about everything, seeing life in everything. It was only later that I suffered in the wrong love, trapping myself by his side. Freedom and personality are gone, what is there to talk about ideals and hobbies? Now, just a cat and a dog, and the free me. Suddenly feeling a bit regretful about why I didn't leave Maverick earlier. Puppies and kittens are not like humans. Once they have decided on you, they will not neglect you, nor will they betray you. You give them love, and they will return it to you tenfold. The next time I saw Maverick, it was downstairs at my house. I was about to go to the library to study for my teaching certification when I pushed open the door and saw Maverick standing at the entrance. He was holding a piece of paper in his hand. Agreed to the divorce? I sat across from Maverick, a hint of relief in my tone. Maverick was looking around my house, and finally his gaze settled on the cat lounging in the sun on the windowsill. Hearing my words, he came back to his senses. Molly, seeing that you are doing well, I can rest easy. I frowned and said, don't evade the question. No. Molly, I don't want a divorce. Maverick, do you remember what I said last time? Don't make me look down on you even more, I won't turn back again. Can't you understand? Maverick slightly lowered his head, I can't live without you, Molly. I laughed. What about your Mavis? Can you bear to part with her? Or is it that Mr. Maverick prefers the thrill of infidelity, so he insists on turning me into a part of your game? Maverick stood up and hurriedly explained, Molly, she's not you, I've already let her go. All right, enough said, I interrupted him. He picked up his phone and called the security guard. He asked Maverick to step outside and told the guard, please make sure to recognize this person's face in the future and do not let him in again. Maverick was unwilling to go out, he opened his mouth but ultimately said nothing. I didn't glance at him, slamming the door shut with determination. I won't look back, nor will I soften my heart. But when I see him again, my heart will still ache. Unconsciously recalling those years when we treated each other with sincerity. The first year. We lived together in the basement, eating street food, and he would happily lift me up and spin me around because he made an extra 50 yuan that day. The young man, full of ambition, vowed to create a better life. Fifth year. The company moved from a storefront to a certain floor of a building, and then to occupying an entire building. He promised to give me a grand wedding, to marry me in a splendid manner. Year 7. A new secretary arrived, and he began to socialize frequently, not returning home at night. Are you coming home for dinner today? I made your favorite perilla porridge. Are you still in a meeting? Why haven't I heard from you? Maverick, what on earth are you doing? Who is that woman? Why did she get out of your car? I never received a response. After the doorman wouldn't let Maverick in, he bought an apartment in a different building in the same community. He began to appear at my doorstep even more audaciously. Seeing me come out, she hurriedly handed me a bowl of steaming porridge. This is the perilla porridge I learned to make myself. Give it a try and see how it tastes. Sometimes they would wait at the door to help me walk the dog. I coldly sidestepped past him, pretending not to see. The neighbor lady observed for a long time and noticed that a man often appeared sneakily at my doorstep. So she enthusiastically helped me call the police. When the police arrived, Maverick said he was my husband, but the aunt next door looked skeptical. There was definitely something sneaky about my husband, he must have had ill intentions. I honestly told them, this is my cheating ex-husband. The police officer looked at Maverick with a complicated expression. If I had known it would come to this, why did I bother in the first place? After giving Maverick a verbal reprimand, I let it go and waited for him at the door, which did not constitute detention. The aunt across the door feels indignant for me. She added my contact information, and every time Maverick blocks the entrance, she will inform me in advance so that I won't go out. I am very grateful, tell Auntie it's okay. It's all in the past, if he is willing to wait, then let him wait, I don't mind. The company is getting bigger and bigger. Maverick doesn't have time to keep bothering me. Many times, I could hear him handling official business outside the door, answering one phone call after another. During this time, there were plenty of calls from Mavis. Maverick picked up and said one thing: "I've told you, don't bother me again." He is resolute in his feelings towards others. Unfortunately, he cannot see things from others' perspectives. To me, he is just as annoying as Mavis is when she clings to him. Later on, he started smoking. The smell of smoke in the hallway grew stronger day by day, causing the neighbor across the hall to complain incessantly. The dog itself has asthma and can't stand the smell of smoke. With the idea of minimizing contact with Maverick, I thought I would endure a little longer. Later, unable to endure it any longer, I opened the door and splashed a basin of water outside. "Maverick, what kind of deep emotional persona are you putting on now? You were the one who changed your heart first, and you were the one who cheated. On the island, you and Mavis did what you both know in your hearts. Mavis said at the hospital that she is having your child, and I know all about it. After doing all these things, how can you still have the face to come back and ask for my forgiveness? Are you so sure that I still have feelings for you?" Maverick looked up, his hair still dripping, his eyes gradually dimming, and his face filled with regret. "Molly, let me explain. Mavis's pregnancy is a lie, she tricked you. But your infidelity is real, isn't it?" Maverick left. Perhaps his actions had been exposed, leaving him speechless in front of me. He didn't show up for 5 consecutive days. After finally having a period of peace, I started preparing for the teaching qualification exam after returning from the island. I like children. Before meeting Maverick, my dream was to be a teacher. Without the influence of emotions, learning becomes increasingly immersive. Time flies by each day, yet the rewards are abundant. Time flies, and in the blink of an eye, the written exam has arrived. After 3 exams, as they handed in their papers, the expressions on the others' faces ranged from excitement to disappointment. And in my heart, there is only calm. After all, I have done my best. The results came out quickly. I passed all 3 subjects in the first exam. I originally wanted to go out and buy some groceries to celebrate at home. But as soon as I opened the door, I ran into Mavis, who was looking for trouble. She looked haggard, her hair even more disheveled from running in a hurry. "How did you find your way to my house? Where's Maverick? Is he at your place?" "Maverick is missing, you should call him and ask what I need to do." "Molly, don't think I don't know, you're just retreating to advance, and in reality, you don't want a divorce at all." I frowned slightly and smiled disdainfully. Yes, you are right about everything." I looked at the woman who had once taken my husband, the one who had always seen me as a thorn in her side, and I felt no affection for her whatsoever. I'll say it again, Maverick and I have nothing to do with each other anymore. If there's someone who can't let go, it's Maverick, not me. I'd rather he let go quickly, so that 1 or 2 people won't keep bothering me endlessly. Mavis really knows how to get to the point. "That bitch," she said fiercely, "you still say you haven't seen Maverick? You just slipped up, he clearly came to see you." Ding! The elevator doors opened, and Maverick walked out. He was holding flowers in his arms and carrying a cake decorated with pictures of my family's dog and cat. "Molly, I heard you passed your exam, I'm here to congratulate you." I seemed to have not heard, not even giving a glance. Maverick paused, his gaze landing on Mavis at the door. With a cold face, she said, "What are you here for?" "I've made it very clear, I don't love you, we have nothing to do with each other anymore." "Maverick, it's not true, is it? You love me, it must be that bitch Molly who seduced you again." I had no patience to continue entangling with them. I closed the door and pressed the elevator button. Mavis still held on tightly to Maverick, just as I wished. The elevator arrived. In the moment the doors closed, Maverick squeezed in. He grabbed my hand, lowered his tone, and softly asked me, "Molly, that was just a little incident, don't mind it. Can we have dinner together tonight?" He looked at me with eager eyes, trying to push the flower into my hand. I pulled my hand back, avoiding it. "I'm very busy, no time." "The cake, thank you, but Mr. Maverick should enjoy it with Miss Mavis." Perhaps he was unwilling to give up. The next day, Maverick appeared at my doorstep again. "Molly, I want to try again. I know it's all my fault. Can you give me another chance? Can we start over?" I quietly looked at him. "Mr. Maverick, my stance has been very clear." Maverick's eyes were red, and tears were about to spill out. He rarely cried. The only time I saw him cry was half a year ago, when he tried to win me back. At that moment, I was moved, but the ending was still terrible. This shows that crocodile tears are truly not to be trusted. I stared closely at Maverick. Rarely had he looked so disheveled, with his hair all frizzy. A gray suit paired with a red tie. It was not as neat as before. In the past, every outfit he wore was personally ironed and coordinated by me. But now, I only feel exhausted, thinking about when he can leave. Maverick looked at me awkwardly. "Molly, I love you." He said he loved me. He used to say he loved me. When he first saw Mavis, drunk, he said, "Molly, I love you." But look at Mavis, witty and charming, and now what about you? Later, we got married. Mavis heard about it and ran to the bar to drown her sorrows, and he said, "Molly, I love you, but Mavis being alone in the bar is too dangerous, she needs me." In these past few years, every time, everywhere. When he said he loved me, there was always the shadow of someone else. It was as if loving me was the shackles of his morality. As long as he said he loved me, his infatuation with Mavis would not be considered out of line. It's simply ridiculous. I used to think that love made me willingly confine myself, while Maverick was merely a wandering of the spirit. So for the first time, I swallowed this thorn, because I couldn't bear to see the 8 years of emotions I had invested turn into a mere shadow. Looking at the tears in Maverick's eyes, I was certain he still loved me. Eating a loss brings wisdom. So now, I do not sympathize with him. Maverick may love me. But compared to his pride and greed, he has simply grown accustomed to my meticulous care and long-lasting companionship. In our relationship, he has always been taking. He doesn't not love me, he just loves himself more. After achieving success in his career, he felt he was neglecting himself by being with me. He wanted to experience how delicate the wildflowers outside could be. Of course, my suffering is also self-inflicted. I encountered the wrong people and willingly fell from grace. I deserve to be wronged in love. But now, I have endured grievances and experienced pain. I just want to get rid of Maverick and start a new life. Maverick, let's part ways and leave some dignity for each other. Maverick has always been a proud person. He understands my words and sees my attitude clearly. After that time, I never saw Maverick again. Later, I received the news that he agreed to the divorce. Except for the villa we lived in, all the other properties belonged to me. I heard that when the news of our divorce broke, friends were all speaking out for him. Mr. Maverick is also praised online as a good man, having given almost all his assets to his ex-wife in the divorce. I just smiled when I heard that. Who could refuse wealth that comes knocking at the door, especially when it is all given willingly? Life follows a routine. After passing the written exam, there was still the teacher qualification interview. On the day I received my teaching certificate, I packed my bags and sold the property I owned in the northern part of Beijing. I flew to that island with my dog and cat. I bought a piece of land at the entrance of the fishing village on the island and built a school. I personally conducted interviews. I hired many caring and hard-working teachers with high salaries, So the children of the fishing village no longer had to take boats to travel to the island for school. And I stayed as well. Teacher Molly, look. My dad caught a beautiful fish in the sea, and I think it's as beautiful as you, so I want to give it to you. Teacher Molly, I scored 90 points on my math test this time, please praise me. Teacher Molly, I want to study hard and grow up to be a good teacher like you. Teacher Molly, I have good news to tell you. Our fishing village is going to be developed too. Mom said they are going to build a really, really big building. I've never seen a building that big before. Spending time with innocent children is the easiest thing. Their heartfelt affirmation also gives me immense courage and determination. That relationship, that city. It feels like just a nightmare of mine. Now, the nightmare has awakened, and what remains in reality is only the endless morning sun and the path sprinkled with starlight. The mountain has its peak, the lake has its shore. On the long journey of life, everything has its turn. Maverick perspective. At 19, when I met Molly, it was love at first sight. She was quirky, bright, and brave, like the wind running across the open fields. In that moment of eye contact, her cheeks flushed. I felt a stir in my heart. At 20, I severed ties with my family and ventured to the north of Beijing to start my own business. My girl disregards everything and stays with me in a 5-square-meter basement. It's damp and cramped, and the clothes never dry. Looking at her sleeping peacefully in my arms, I vowed to give her a good life. She is impressive, both in vision and eloquence. At first, many clients came specifically for her. 23 years old. The company is on the right track. I bought this lakeside villa, and she liked it very much. After the company stabilized, I felt sorry for her and let her focus on being a full-time housewife at home, solidifying our strong support. On that anniversary, I asked her where she wanted to travel. She said she wanted to go to an island, but then she considered that the company couldn't do without her. I promised to treat the island as the destination for our honeymoon trip. 25 years old. A new secretary joined my friend's company. At the dinner table, I agreed to be introduced to her on a whim. Her name is Mavis. She resembled Molly a lot when they were young, bright and sunny. It's just that I'm not very smart at work, unlike Molly who is clever, but there is a kind of clumsy cuteness to it. 29 years old. I lie alone in the vast villa. It is empty, devoid of life. Every time I return home alone after socializing, I pull up my tie as usual and, feeling uncomfortable, call out, "Molly, I'm so thirsty." But no one is lighting a warm lamp for me. No one is bringing me a cup of hot water. The morning's perilla porridge is gone forever. The only response to me was the boundless darkness and silence. At this moment, the overwhelming regret suffocated me, leaving me breathless. I picked up my phone once again and expertly booked a flight to the island. I had the driver take me to the airport, just sitting there, waiting for the earliest flight the next day. Molly didn't know. In fact, over the past few years, every time I thought of her, I would quietly go to the island to see her. Watching her laugh heartily at school, she is no longer my caged bird, but a soaring eagle. Just like when I first saw her. 31 years old. Molly is married. I had someone look into that man. He graduated from one of the top 3 universities in the country, comes from a wealthy family, and has a stable temperament. She met him while traveling. Later, that man followed Molly and also came to the fishing village to teach. They often walked along the coastline in the evening. The tranquil sunlight bathed them, making them look perfectly matched. As for me, I have spent almost all of the past 6 months on the island. Quietly watching their happiness, like a shadowy rat, peering into the lives of others. I know this is not good, but I can't help it. At 36, Molly had a daughter who looked just like her. Later, the girl grew a little older, and she was simply a replica of her. Molly seems to have completely forgotten me. I mustered the courage to greet her, but she looked at me like a stranger. Brushed past each other, without any pause. After that, I never inquired about Molly's news again.